Morning, lawn care freaks. Today is Monday, April 6th, 2020, and we're doing a quick update today on the Kentucky 31 fescue seeding, and it is a great day to be alive. Okay, good morning, lawn care freaks. This video today is going to be an amalgamation of things, but first and foremost, we're going to talk about the Kentucky 31 tall fescue seeding that we did. A little bit under 2 weeks ago, 12 days to be exact, we seeded the 3 big bare spots from grubworm damage last year in the fall. So that was 12 days ago on a Wednesday. We did all the steps in that. You can go back and watch the video. I'll link it below. So that took you through all the seeding process. And from there on, it was just water, water, water. Keep the seed bed and soil moist throughout the germination process, and even once the seed starts to grow, it needs to stay wet. So whether that's from hose and sprinkler watering or rain, doesn't matter. It needs to stay wet through its growing process. So if you look on Google or Home Depot's website or many different places, the germination times listed for Kentucky 31 are anywhere from it's either 7 to 10 or 7 to 14 days. So if it's 7 to 14 days, we're still inside that window of when the seeds could be popping up. But I was still getting nervous because it's the 12-day mark right now. And I was getting nervous because I wasn't seeing anything come up yet. And it wasn't just because I wasn't seeing anything coming up yet. I was getting nervous because, in part because of that nothing was coming up, but also because the day that I seeded, it was a warm day. It was in the high 60s. So it was a great day to seed, got the water down, everything was good. Then the next day was kind of warm still, and then the third and fourth days after seeding, it was cold for 2 days in a row, and there was not a lot of sunlight either. It was overcast both days, and it wasn't like below freezing or anything, but it was in the high 30s, so it was very cold out. And over the next week or so, and nothing is still coming up yet, and especially in the past 2 or 3 days now, so the 11-10 day marks, I was getting really nervous that those cold temperatures that we experienced had damaged the seeds. Possibly a little bit of freezing might have occurred, or even frost. Even though it might not have been down to below freezing temperatures, some frost could still possibly damage it. I don't really know. I'd have to Google search about that stuff. But I was just anxious about that because nothing was coming up. And I was worried that it was just a big waste of money. But we have had success. So there is a lot of grass seed coming up now in all 3 spots of all 3 locations where we had grubworm damage. So we're looking good. So also to note, in the previous video, the seeding process, one of the steps was spreading down peat moss. And the peat moss was very evenly spread throughout all 3 of the seed bed locations. And but if you can see in certain shots of the video, there's darker patches and then lighter patches of soil. Those darker patches are the peat moss, and the lighter patches are just the bare soil that is underneath all the grass. So throughout these last 12 days of just watering, some of the peat moss is probably soaked into the ground and just kind of dissolved, mixed in with the dirt. And some of it's held stronger. In the spots where there are some thicker patches of peat moss, the seed looks like it's coming up a lot better right there. So there's a few kind of big bare spots, this being one of them right here, that I can't really get too close to because I don't want to step in here where there's a lot of seed coming up. I don't want to step on it, but I don't see any seed particularly coming up there. But I'm still having faith that some of it should come up in some of those bigger bare spots. But yeah, we're having really good germination throughout a majority of the seed beds. Okay, so we're at knee level now. By that I mean I'm just sitting on my knees out here. But this is the edge of one of the seed bed locations. And I'm going to take you in for a zoom up. What am I talking about? A zoom in shot. So, to be noted, there are lots of weeds growing in here. There were quite a few weeds that were popping up on the day that we did the seeding. And those have certainly taken advantage of the watering and the peat moss that we've added in here. So they're growing, but there's still a lot of bare open soil that a lot of new grass seed can take advantage of and grow, and that's what's happening here. So if we zoom in on this spot right here, you can see all of this right here is existing grass that was there where my fingers are running through. But if you go right in front of my fingers, right up in here, there's a broadleaf weed right there. But in and around it, there's a bunch of new grass seed coming up. And this is a spot where there's a bunch of peat moss that's collected. But right over here, there's some more. There's not as much peat moss, but there's still grass seed coming up. So that is a good sign. And if you move around, there's grass seed coming up everywhere. Pretty much everywhere. Not 100% everywhere. But it looks promising. So that's really good. We're getting the results. Scarlet, Scarlet. Oh, who's that? You see Bella over there? There's Bella. Scarlet. Is that Leo over there? You got Leo on one side and Bella on the other side. Scarlet. Oh, you're so cute, yeah. Okay, so now just sitting outside still. I did my watering before I'm recording this part of the video. Just chilling with Scarlet out here. So yeah, did the watering for this morning. It's gonna be sunny all day today, so watered it now. Probably watered a little bit later. Probably watered only a little bit later in the afternoon today because we're gonna get a lot of rain overnight. So I don't want it to be super moist going into the rain during the middle of the night and have a bunch of stuff get washed away. But yeah, we're looking good. So none of the lawn anywhere in our yard has been fertilized yet this year, and I was holding off on that because of stuff that I've talked about in the first grass seeding video, and that reason being is that starter fertilizer that I have will promote a lot of growth in the existing grass that's here already. So I didn't want to throw that on any of the seed beds over there before any grass is coming up, because that'll just help all those weeds grow a lot quicker and shade out and dominate all the grass over there. So yes, I could have fertilized the rest of the yard and then saved some for the seed beds, but I really just wanted to wait until that new grass seed was popping up so I could fertilize it all at once and not have to worry about doing some here and then some another day. That starter fertilizer too has to be watered in, so that is another reason I was holding off on doing that. The main one being to wait until the grass seed is coming up, but also we need a good rainstorm, spring rainstorm, to help water that stuff in, because you can water it in with your own sprinklers, but nothing is going to beat Mother Nature. Another product I have that also needs rained in, or what am I saying? It needs watered in, but I probably won't be doing on this same day as the starter fertilizer, is our crabgrass pre-emergent. Scarlet, what are you doing? Scarlet, you don't own the sidewalk. People are allowed to walk on the sidewalk, Scarlet. Scarlet, good girl. You protecting us? Okay, back to what I was saying. The crabgrass pre-emergent, and it's not just crabgrass pre-emergent, it's all kinds of weed pre-emergent, so that also needs to be watered in, and that also I needed to wait to put that down on the seed beds, because if you put that down before the seeds are popping up out of the ground, it will prevent them from growing as well. So it's labeled as a weed pre-emergent, but it will prevent basically any type of seed from germinating and growing up through the soil. So the seed, whatever it is, grass or anything, or wheat or whatever, it would germinate, but then how those pre-emergents work is they create a chemical barrier at the soil, the top of the soil line. So when anything germinates and tries to poke through the seed bed, it just dies. So I'm going to be waiting to put down that weed pre-emergent, because while we're getting a lot of good germination and growth over here in this part of the grubworm damage from last year, I also, a few days later after we did that, did some more seeding over here. So we also had some more grub damage over here that wasn't as big of spots, but there was some grub damage, and it really got torn up over the winter because of that one running around and playing in the yard. So we had some bigger torn up dead spots over here. So I had some leftover Kentucky 31 seeding, leftover Kentucky 31 grass seed, and then I found a little bit of some sun and shade mix seed that my dad had laying around in the garage. So I went ahead and seeded some of these spots. So that was about 2 days after the main Kentucky 31 was seeded. So we're looking at probably 2 or 3 more days before this stuff starts to pop up. So the starter fertilizer is going to get put down tonight, and I'm not worried about this grass over here out competing this seed, because it should be germinating, or it should be popping up out of the ground here in a day or 2, or maybe 3, but we'll be okay where the starter fertilizer is concerned. But the weed preventer, I don't want any of that to get anywhere where there's seed that hasn't grown up through the dirt yet. And also, speaking about the weed pre-emergent, while we are getting a lot of growth happening over here, not literally all of the grass seed pops up at exactly the same time. So while there's a lot of seed coming up over here, there still might be some seeds here and there that are going to pop up through the soil and grow and be successful plants, but they just might be a day or 2 behind. So we don't want to limit the potential of our seed success rate, if you will. So we're going to wait a few more days to put that down, and there are weeds for sure coming in the yard. And that happens every year. Some people's lawns hold better over the winter, but for whatever reason we've had grubworm damage consistently these past few years, so it's an ongoing battle. But we'll get that pre-emergent put down here in the next few days, and we'll get the results we want. And then from there on out, any weeds that are here already that pre-emergent's not going to help with, we'll go to work on them with the hand can sprayer, and they'll get taken out. Alright, the sun is going down. It's past 7 o'clock, I believe. So now it is time to put down the starter fertilizer. So we're going to get a bunch of rain overnight, and then the next few days, this stuff needs to get watered in. It's going to really start this grass growing a lot, getting big, lush, and green. Okay, so we got postponed severely because there was a Zoom conference call that I needed to attend to, and so it's dark now, but we're going to try, that's the garage light, we're going to try to spread the starter fertilizer in the dark, because it's going to rain tonight, and I would really, really like to get this stuff put down so it can be watered in overnight. But it might be too dark to do it. As long as I can see the consistency of the pellet size, hopefully over here where this garage light is, then hopefully I know I can go in a straight line because it's not pitch black or anything. But we're going to try. If it doesn't work, I'll put it down tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be a little bit of a dry spell at some point tomorrow or in the next couple of days. But we'll figure it out. Here we go. So all you want to do is look for the spreader settings. So I'm going to be using a broadcast spreader. And here's the chart for the spreader settings. My particular spreader is going to be the Scott Speedy Green. It's one of the variations of those. So it's calling for the 5.75 mark. And then the calibration settings is, according to this, 3.4 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Now, to speak on all of the math that's involved in calculating how many pounds of product per square feet you're putting down, it's important to know how to do that math, but at the same time, it's not completely necessary. So what I mean by that is basically, if you know the square footage of your entire space that you're going to be fertilizing, you know that, and mine is about 8,000 square feet, front yard and back. So knowing that, then the bag will say how much total square footage the bag will cover, and this one is 5,000 square feet. So I have this bag and another bag, which makes 10,000 square feet total that these two bags will cover together, and that's more than I need. So I'll probably have some left over. But the point being is, you know your lawn space, 8,000 square feet, roughly. I have a surplus of product, so I have more than I need. Then you really just want to, so you know you have enough product, then you want to spread it evenly. So I know I'm going to have a little bit left over, but what I use, I'm just going to be spreading evenly throughout the yard. So it doesn't, you can just toy around with the spreader settings if you want to, or some spreaders, their calibration might be slightly off. So while it says 5.75 on the bag, it might be 5.75 on my spreader, which happens to be very old. That might be a little bit more or less than what 5.75 would be releasing out of the bottom, straight out of the box from the factory. So it being old, an old spreader, its calibration might be off. So just make sure that you have enough product on hand, which I do, and then make sure that it's getting spread evenly across the space that you're fertilizing. Alright, let's go see if we can do this. Okay, we finished the seeding, the starter fertilizer on the yard here in the dark, in the approaching past 9 o'clock now. Still got to cook dinner. But I want to be transparent with you guys about everything. So we just finished the starter fertilizer, and while my yard space that was being fertilized definitely is not 10,000 square feet, and 10,000 square feet coverage is the amount that I had, I put all 10,000 square feet, or as in both bags, on my lawn area that was being fertilized. Now, people can go back and forth all day whether that's right or wrong, but I just want to be honest with you guys about what I do to get the results that I do. Now, you do have to be careful that if you put truly way too much fertilizer on a small enough space, or it doesn't have to be a small space, but just too much fertilizer for a space, whatever, regardless of whatever size it is, that when it's synthetic fertilizer, which is what the starter fertilizer is, that can burn out the lawn and essentially kill the grass plant that is there. So you do have to be careful. But I've been doing this for a while now, and I know that for the lawn space size that I just fertilized, that those two bags totaling 10,000 square feet will not burn out any of my grass here. So we're all good there. And a majority of people who use synthetic fertilizers on a regular basis over fertilize anyway. So we're all good here. But we got it down, we got the work done. I was able to see here close to the garage where there's some light, I was able to see the amount of fertilizer coming out on the setting that I had. I had it on the 6 setting. while it said 5.75, I had it on the 6th. So that's just kind of up to you. But if you know, you can, if you pay attention to how much product is dropping out of the bottom of the spreader, because they call it a drop spreader, how much product, if you pay attention to how much product is dropping out of it, and pay attention to, is it being spread evenly across the lawn space, which it was. So yeah, we got the work done, and it's going to get rained in tonight, and we're going to get some results. We'll also have to track the progress of the grass, as we would anyway with all the new grass seed that we have growing. But I've never used this Menards fertilizer, Menards brand of fertilizer before, so we'll have to see how good it works. I've been a Scott's, where synthetic fertilizer is concerned, I've been a Scott's user for the longest of time, but and they have good products. They have great products, but this stuff was certainly a lot cheaper than Scott's, so we went ahead and decided to give it a try. I'm also stocked up on Milorganite over here, which is the choice for me of organic fertilizers. We'll get all into that in another video here in the next couple months. But in the event that hardware stores might be closing down because of all the world crisis right now, we went ahead and stocked up on that. And then over there, that blue bag is the weed pre-emergent. That'll go down in a few more days once some of the new grass seed has had more of a chance to grow, to get a little bit bigger. So yeah, that'll go down in a few days. That also needs to be watered in. That green bag is some leftover, basically insect repellent stuff that I had left over. So that'll go down with some new insect repellent. But we got the work done. We're gonna get the results, and it's gonna be a good lawn care season, guys. I had to turn around like this to get that shot of the moon's light in my in the closing statements for this video. Yeah, so thanks for sticking around with me today. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel to keep up with future content that's here, both lawn care and plant and green content, if you will, because that's one of my hobbies and I like doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, there's certainly be a lot more of this kind of content, these kind of videos, and then just all kinds of other stuff too. So check out some of the other videos on the channel, goofy things, product reviews, all kinds of stuff. But certainly if you like lawn care, this type of stuff, please subscribe to the channel. You won't regret it. So wherever you guys are in the world, have a great rest of your night, day, or wherever you are in the world. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys later. Bye.